Okay, really quick. This isn't a news video per se, more like a prediction video. I just had an idea all of a sudden, specifically about Mario Tennis Fever, which is the new Mario Tennis game that was just announced in the Nintendo Direct. In the trailer, which we actually did get to see like a whole lot of the game in this trailer, they said that the roster is filled with 38 characters, which is insane. That is the most amount of characters in series history, and not even like over gradual DLC. Like that's just all gonna be there for us right out of the box. That's pretty nuts, and given that the last Mario spin-off with a big roster, that being Mario Kart World, had a pretty crazy cast of characters filled with a lot of unexpected enemies, I thought it would be fun to real quick try and just predict what I think this roster of 38 might look like. Now, 38 is deceiving, right? We see 38 as like a massive number, but there's also just a huge chunk of Mario characters that we know are going to be in the game, that can't not be in the game. So really you shave off a lot of that number just on the primary cast. From this trailer, we've already gotten most of the characters that will be on the roster confirmed, and most of them are the characters that you would expect. Going through them really quick, we got Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, Pauline, Donkey Kong, Rosalina, Luma as separate characters, not together as one, Toadette, we'll get back to that, Daisy, Birdo, Wario, who was technically not shown, but given the existence of Baby Wario, I'm led to assume that Wario is in the game, Waluigi, Petey Piranha, Bowser, Boo, Shy Guy, Chain Chomp, Balooper, my boy, and Spike, the industry plant that he is. That's 20 characters right there, leaving us with much less to speculate than one would hope. In fact, it's quite possible that there's even less than that. Through the reveal of the story mode or the adventure mode, whatever you want to call it, we saw all of the primary Mario characters turn into their baby forms. Baby Mario, Luigi, Peach, Wario, and debuting to the world, Waluigi. So like, are these babies exclusive to the adventure mode, or are they playable on the roster? If they're on the roster, that means that's 5 more characters, bringing us up to 25. I personally am going to assume that they are. They never really hold back when it comes to the babies. And I mean, why make all of those new baby models? Why go through the effort of debuting Baby Waluigi if we can't play as Baby Waluigi, you know? So I think that those 25 are all confirmed into the game, basically. Let's keep going down the list and see who else we can come up with. There's one massive omission that you probably noticed right out of the gate, and that is Toad. Toadette is on the roster, but no Toad, seemingly. There's a pretty clear culprit for that. Toad has been banished to the referee dimension, and that happens to him sometimes. Someone's gotta be the judge, and quite frequently it ends up being Toad. But you know, just because there's a Toad on the judge's stand doesn't mean that we're not playing as Toad as well. You can have your cake and eat it too. So while we don't know for sure, it's entirely possible that they have omitted Toad from the roster just to be the judge, I'm going to predict that Toad is in fact in the game. He's just too big of a character to leave behind. Now for the next 2 slots. Unfortunately, if all the other babies are in the game, then I have to give room for the 2 other babies that exist and didn't get seen in the trailer. Daisy and Rosalina are in the game, so that probably implies that Baby Daisy and Baby Rosalina are also in the game, even though we didn't see them. They might be somewhere in the story mode still. They might be unlocked later down the line. They're just not in that same opening cutscene where everyone else turns into a baby. I do feel like that's pretty likely, so I'm comfortable adding those 2. We've got another duo next. This one's interesting because I think one is a lot more likely than the other. Bowser Jr. and Diddy Kong. Bowser Jr. is a shoo-in. He's just as much of a confirmed character as anybody else on this roster. Like, I know I'm gonna see him. Even though we haven't seen him in the trailer, I still feel confident that he is in the game. And you'd think the same would go for Diddy Kong. In the past, like if you got Bowser Jr., you probably also got Diddy Kong in your game. But Diddy Kong has kind of been pushed to the side with a lot of games recently. He's either been not in a base roster and then added into the game way later, or just not in the game at all. It's somehow become a challenge to keep Diddy Kong on our kart and party game rosters. But I don't know, now that Bonanza's here and Donkey Kong's big rebrand has come into effect, I gotta assume that maybe that's the reason that they were holding back on Donkey Kong content. So I'm going to say that Diddy Kong is in the game. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. That brings us to 30 characters. We have 8 left. Let's start bringing in some of the enemies. I want to believe deep into my soul that Goomba will be playable in this game. Goomba used to not be allowed to participate in these spin-offs because the poor thing didn't have hands, but recently that ban has been lifted and we've been seeing Goomba playable in party games as well as Mario Kart World. I want to believe that Goomba can play tennis with the best of them. And similarly, I imagine that Koopa Troopa will be playable, or Koopa Paratroopa. If for whatever reason, tennis seems to prefer having Paratroopa in the game rather than a standard Koopa Troopa. Weird, but okay, I guess someone should be using Paratroopa. So I'll put Goomba and Paratroopa together as just another duo pair. Let's throw on 3 more enemies that are pretty common in spin-offs and ones that we'd hate to see left behind. Hammer Bro, Dry Bones, and Monty Mole. I feel like people don't celebrate Hammer Bro all that much, but we are really sad when he's not there at the same time. He's just kind of a Koopa with slightly more armor, but like, come on. You can make his hammer into a racket, like it's right there. Dry Bones is just too much of a fan favorite. The world would riot if he was not in the game. And Monty Mole has been making a ton of spin-off appearances recently. I think he's been turning into everyone's favorite little guy. So why not keep that streak going? Hammer Bro, Dry Bones, and Monty Mole bring us to 35, giving us a sparse 3 slots remaining. Next, I'm gonna go for another enemy that has been making a ton of recent appearances. Went from being literally not on the map at all to now turning into a household name. We have Ninji. Ninji is a little ninja guy. I think he comes from Mario 2. Like, this is a really old enemy. He didn't make too many appearances in the middle of Mario's life, but now here in the modern day, he's suddenly appearing everywhere. I remember seeing him in Origami King and then Mario Wonder. He's playable in, I think, both of the Super Mario Party games, and he was in Mario Golf Super Rush. So clearly they're pushing this guy, so you know what? I'll do the same. Next up, a character who's been really shafted recently. Kamek. Kamek's been drawing the short straw for a while now. I think the biggest hit that the character has taken was in Mario Kart World, banished from the playable roster and turned into everyone's least favorite item. I want to make it up to him, and he was in Mario Tennis Aces anyway, so why don't we bring Kamek to this roster as well? And the final character that I think will be in the game, not necessarily a surprise, but one that I think that a sub-community of fans would be really excited to see. Nabbit. Nabbit is a little gremlin creature thing who's sort of become an honorary mainstay in the Mario universe. No one talks to him, no one's his friend, but like, he keeps showing up, steals your money, eats all your food, and leaves. But hey, at this point, the list of marketable Mario characters with arms and legs is getting kind of low. So come on, Nabbit, you're in too. That's all 38 characters. Not the most exciting. Hopefully, even beyond this, we might still be getting DLC characters. But I don't know, 38 is a lot. Maybe that's a lot to ask for. I do want to, at the end here, put in some wild choices. Ones that I don't think are going to be in the game, but would be really cool if there were. I mean, there has to be some characters on this roster that will be debuting, right? Like, they can't all be returnees. So I've got a quick list of 5 characters that I think would really shake things up in a cool way if they made it onto the roster. First up is Sidestepper. Mario Kart World added a bunch of goofy random enemies onto its roster, and I looked through it to see if I could make any one of them a 2-timer. Out of them all that I thought could realistically be on a tennis court, I think Sidestepper is just my favorite. I loved the idea of a little crab just scuttling around the court. And this guy's vintage. Like, he'd instantly be one of the oldest characters to exist on this field, so I think that's cool. Next up, we have Bruiser, a really angry boy who has not made that many appearances in the Mario world, but I think he checks off all the boxes that we need for a playable character character in a tennis game, mainly arms. He kind of serves the same purpose that a character like Boom Boom would. And we did just have Boom Boom in Mario Aces, so it's entirely possible that they'd want Boom Boom instead of a weird pick like this. But Bruce is kind of cool. So I think it'd be really sick if like he made it into the game. Number 3, and I'm actually pretty attached to this one. I think it's high time that Buzzy Beetle got his due. This guy has been putting in time since Super Mario Brothers. He is older than like half the characters on this roster already. And you're telling me he doesn't get to be in any spin-offs? That's not cool. I mean, I get it. He doesn't have arms. He's walking around on all fours. Most of his body is just a giant shell. And he looks pretty introverted. You know, maybe he doesn't want to show up to the spin-off games, but I think he deserves to get at least one invitation. Now, these last 2 are definitely fan base heavy picks, but we're wishful thinking, so I'm going to wish. Prince Florian. There's a lot of Mario Wonder stuff going on in Mario Tennis Fever. There's a whole Wonder-themed court. The Wonder Seed is like an item, and there are Poplins in the audience. All that makes me think that having a like Wonder rep might be pretty appropriate. He's a little unconventional body type wise, but like if Wiggler can make it into a tennis game, then certainly Prince Florian can. Cappy missed the boat on the spin-off train, and I don't want to see the same thing happen to Florian. Get him into the spin-off rotation while we still can. I'm sure if they could excuse Talking Flower into the roster, they would make it happen. I don't think it's possible as much as they would want it, but don't worry, Talking Flower is all over the game anyway. And I've got one more character that I think would be pretty cool. The chances of this guy are easily last place. It will genuinely never happen, but a man can dream. This guy has been pretty irrelevant for a number of years, but some stuff has happened, and I think his chances might be a little more likely than before. Maybe if we all make a wish to falling stars, we might actually see King K. Rool make an appearance in a spin-off title. I'll be keeping my fingers crossed. That's all for now. This was a really kind of just silly little video that I was inspired to make. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what kinds of characters you want to see on this massive roster. Are you excited for Mario Tennis Fever for any reason beyond the roster? I think it just looks really good in general. Definitely share all your thoughts, and I will see you all in the next video. See you later.